Now the big sky. I'm most interested to see, especially knowing that the second half is the story. But just how the tracks flow from one into the other, specifically for the first side. That's always just like one of the coolest things about like listening to an album to me is just how different songs and how they format the track listing. The Big Sky. That flowed beautifully. Oh man, the fucking bass is just raging. Woo! Man, it's funky as hell. I love that, like, certain artists, because I think most people would agree that when you are listening to primarily music in the 80s, that it's just got its own sound. You know, synthesizers and electronics and what have you, electric drums. When you, especially for somebody like me who's never heard this before, when you first start listening to an 80s song that you've never heard, you're like, oh, it just sounds like the 80s. But the more you get into it and the more you listen, the more you can get past the block that is on a lot of those 80s songs. And a lot of people have a hard time getting into those songs. But like something like Kate Bush, where the music, the songwriting just absolutely transcends the instruments used. And I think there's not really a good point. I think you got it. That rhythm section is going for it. I think David Gilmour does a lot of the electric guitar, at least on some of this, right? It's another album that David Gilmour's on. And I wish I would have heard this back then. I'll tell you what, the more I hear from Kate Bush and see, because I have watched a couple of her videos, I did react to the Cloud Busting song. That's on YouTube. Check that out if you haven't yet. And then the only other video I watched another reaction video for whatever Kate Bush song that was. I can't remember. Maybe Babushka? And I'm like, man, I am just falling in love with this woman. Man, whoo! Kate Bush.
What the hell? Everything!